I have moved to this place where I'm about to start a different form of life. It's close to the airport, and it also has more space among the houses and people since it's out of London. I wanted to share how difficult it is for me right now because I feel oppressed with a lot of fear. Um, Afraid of failure and to lose. Who wants to lose? Isn't it? One has to be aware of if one is being productive also because one can be generating a lot of energy for others, and when it comes to you, it's like, wow, I didn't want to really be talking on YouTube. I'm considering to take a step forward and make an organization to support influencers and managers who already have an ordinary job to do mansions into villages. And on the side, also talk about the rules of roleplay and virtual reality. So uh, it's 1:11 p.m. here. I hope to help the community of roleplay as well, so we can also move forward and maybe talk on Twitter and get to. I cannot give my formula yet, which is something nobody knows. Um, it's very sad. It's very sad so to look at my claustrophobia in this room. I had a great studio, and I thought, well, I have a huge storage there. This is there, right there. I could make a. I could make there. I could make there a film studio actually. Um, or I could just go here and rent a space to just talk and see people there. I need to create a group, a system where I can relay with people that are legal and conform a movement, because this is like talking for others to take your energy. And I am not, I was trying to move my rules of role playing to virtual reality. And what I have sent to Bill Gates, uh, he already had a plan with Microsoft to get many companies, uh, because I have studied all the tech titans and I have printed a lot of their projects as well, and studied before sending it to one. And I wanted to start rolling, but the metaverse for the virtual reality, for the fantasy world, needs to be unique, and it should never be copied because that breaks the tissue of the reality of the storytelling. Each character is unique in each universe unless people make other roles in another universe. So I'm trying to think here. This is not. I'm not yet like a YouTuber because uh, we'll have to buy a camera. My camera was stolen. The tripod. Uh, Create a script to write, and I was just trying to catch big fish for my huge work, which is greater than me and anyone. but it involves the best of this world for any characteristics they have. So I wanted to talk also about the people that I see online and the problems ahead, to be able to, as an admirer to those I really like to mention. Uh, I like Friedman. Um, is because with the pen of the political views, what's going on around the world, I don't think it's healthy for a man to go to Ukraine or Russia or talk with these people when nobody needs to risk their life. But there are innocent people dying because of the tyranny of the old world and all those who belong to that. And I'm just going to leave it like that. So we should celebrate and cherish the goodness of everything and not ignore those things which should die forever, never be stimulated again, because there's no need to. An intelligent society would never allow that to happen, even if it's rare and unknown, never tasted before. That flavor, flavor. I think we have all, because at some point we have been children, we have been playful, we have been part of uh, our traumas and horrifying memories will retract us to link towards those scandalous and terrifying moments that are printed on a videos and news. And is watching this nurse who killed 13 babies. Uh, HG Tudor has done a remarkable series about. Um, I still don't understand why these people exist. H. Tudor has been great guidance in my life. In the point that I couldn't function anymore to continue my lawsuit with McDonald's. So they recycle better, as the design says. But it is true that there are people who destroy your life without reason to do it, um, without any, I would say, education, because we have an emotional education, that in order to mirror and understand the feelings of others in our skin, and respecting those boundaries which contain that life, where we can look through other options of transforming and creating. So I have always shouted to myself and in the night to the church, why do the good people have to suffer and teach and transform? I've shouted to God, why don't you come here and do the dirty job? So I don't think I'm a good person. It can be very evil. I can be a victim. I can be a victorious person who always wins as well, who is ahead of the game. Uh, because I walk alone in life, and that's been my reaffirming source of control, to be in charge of my life as an adult, um, to to take roads that have never been walked before, because I want to see there. I want to. Some occasion was the only option. There were no possibilities but that. But previously, I had chosen that road in order to destroy all my paths that was left in the past, because I knew once I was there, it would auto destroy. But I needed this influence that will destroy it because I wasn't capable. So you sometimes people to do things that you are not capable of doing, but you have the premeditation and allegory to choose that road. And I don't mean by destroying people or things. Sometimes things get destroyed because you're not there taking care of it. And those who thought they had the privilege of owning all that don't deserve it because they never were the creators of that. So it destroys. They don't have the pillars, the foundations who created that. So naturally, they don't have the stamina and strength that understands those pillars to maintain them. That's why the conservative can endure because they know where they come from, they know what they're sustaining before that moment of architecture when having that idea. And we see this in many mythological stories as well, from the Edda of Tolkien. I really love to listen to I cannot call influencers some people because I think they are more than that. They are masters of perfection. There was a project that I did, it was called Masters of Perfection. But well, .com.org. Uh, just got techtheself.org. So well, let's just get technical about how are we doing and get to help communities and go abroad to see what can we do to make it better and manage these values as well. So there's a lot for me to learn and to calm down from the frustration, misunderstanding, hatefulness, and absolute murdering feeling that lays within me. Um, have a strong denial to life within me and others. I wish them to get out of my life because they are disturbing. They don't understand the essence of a character. They don't understand how it works. Storyline, so it continues. They have created too much poison, so they cannot band together. And I am aware of my own poisonous, how they call it, coping mechanism of self reaction. So to defend myself from my space. And I wanted to talk about how important it is to have one's space. Uh, so it is good to feel fear and paranoid. I wish to write horror again and just have my normal salary and role play again and just forget about the impossibilities that are not happening. So I'm very afraid to spend the money that I had. I need to send money to Canada to the lawyers to recover my children and get a job that has an income in order to pay a rent to get my children back. Otherwise, without having a house and a balanced income, I cannot ask for my children. In the past, I have sent money to lawyers without having a house, so they just kept the money. I never opened a trial. And to my family, which is something I can't deny, so they reach my children, and that's been around 25,000 pounds. Now that I am running short again, I have done to recover what was taken, uh, recover my self-esteem, because one needs a cover that sustains you. You know, I wanted to get a Prada suit, walk with a Mohican to inspire fear and respect. I will do that when I have a private driver and I can just move faster as an agent of change. Do not call it death, because as we create forward, the past will die by itself. So we don't need to linger with those pestilent, disgusting creators of virus. Says copy rats. Rats hide. They hide. One pays the other to silence the other, and the other thinks he's cool because he's hiding as if nobody knows. But I know. I know the double faces. I know the convenience. I know that copyright rats think to have it all, but they could never win Russia and South America and parts of Africa in this way. By investing on the same bullshit, you need to open your mind to, to connect with your heart and your body and see the global situation at large. How important my formula is that I have created through 20 years of investment. Because if I did what others tell me to do, I would have never gotten there in the first place. So I have catch someone that won a Nobel Prize, and I'm going to study this person. Maybe it's the person that I should sue next, because it have the idea he has entitled himself, and he said it himself. He just didn't say it precisely, because then he's trying to cover up what he just said. I'm so surprised by people, but they don't have the academy, they don't have the tools to prove it. So, because you talked about it, right? Have said, yeah, you can win a Nobel Prize with this finding. But I have so much that I have found, and we need to put together as well to recognize, to bring recognition to those who can put it in a book, because I'm still mediating and nothing is giving me. So it's like, yeah, I'm mediating so you get more ideas for free. It should never be this way. Nobody come here to say thank you. Hey, thank you. Hello. Look at you. You should have never ended up like that. Why is no one coming to you? Because it's better to take from you and hide it. Copyrights exist and they have all the cover. They have the cover of having an academic title. They have the cover of having connections. They have the cover of having an income that is good enough so they can write the book. I can write the book myself as well. Just get my title from my work. Yeah. but they got the cover to entitle themselves with it, while I am trying to survive with my family, put them afloat. So I'm talking from a personal perspective, from an influence source of everything that I'm granting for that which is the different intelligent forms that one can achieve while role playing in character, because these intelligent forms exist by their own once you understand as a writer and an actor for these roles. Script writer and a writer has to live through these characters as well. So in role play, you live them fully in first person. I have always fought. So for the rules of role play, for certain priorities, because first person is visceral and people can understand them as well on their own skin when they see the other in first person than when it's narrative. Especially because male role players find it difficult to role play woman in first person because of course is, and they have comment to me that they don't want to be criticized as if they're gay or transvestites, and that for women it's easier to interpret as a man, even though women always want to make their dream man, and men are not like that. So then I say, excuse me, you're this person, right? Yeah, you're a woman. I know you. I'm not gonna say who you are to respect your privacy, because there are always hackers as well. But this is not how men are, okay? This is how you wish men to be. But men don't do this, men don't do that, men do that. So respect this. They have testosterone, they have different organs, hormones get more to this side than this. So get to uh, recognize your relationship with men and your inability to understand men and what you desire from men that they will never have. So that's role play, coming in the private to another person and telling, hey, I really, you look more like my best friend, girly friend. Uh, it's not how men are always pleasing. That is your best friend. And, and well, it's so sweet. I miss many players because they are bullies, so they have tried to destroy all my friends. Uh, borderline woman who smokes meth. So I was like, I'm going to invest to move the rules of role playing to virtual reality and the scientific findings and try to help humanity for the board of role players as well to get together and speak. So I don't know if to just put everything on tech the self, if to invest with the dungeoners, because the person has to role play. So I'm not going to be saying the same thing over and over again. A role player would never auto stage my character. And I said, well, I will have to get something here. It's dust. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna get some covers here. I'm so afraid of losing the money and invest more. So I was like, just go outside, try to think, what are you going to do? so you can create an income. And I'm like, wow, you're gonna have to be posting 18 hours and maybe get a microphone, a camera. And I will see what is the best for role play and real life for mansions into villages. So tech itself becomes an outstanding pillar for all those who role play in fantasy and in real life. Eventually, just talk about real life. Here is just a rehearsal. So in the other channel, I can be a little more pragmatic. Maybe I can just talk here about role play, and in the other channel, tech itself about influencers and create iconic sentences. To not mix both, because I wish characters to be role players to be anonymous. No one should know your characters, but we have to share what it is before we die. So it continues, and hopefully, we get to build more stories. So it's hard to feel like with so much debt that I have to pay lawyers, I have to keep up with the rent, I have to keep up to think that can have an income. So wish just to forget about my public life because I never had one in this last 12 years or 13 or maybe 10, because I have been in the underworld with the divine to the demonic. Just in the underworld, I have been with people that belong to mar- the marginals. I lost my rights in Canada. I was not a Canadian or resident. I lost my visa tourist. I had to witness the underworld of society in Canada. Um, and here just work as labor class and see for me it's also another part of an underworld where work could be a devotion, a working meditation. And many people don't like to work. Like, well, just take it as an exercise. For me, it helps me to think about the storyline, these works that are as the meditation of Gurdjieff, and they're just mechanic, and you just perform these certain movements that are all predictable. We'll go this way or the other, but that's what you got. These hands, which is that's what they can do. That's possible within the frame of the intelligence of your work. And this mechanical work can allow your brain to be thinking of other things and get to study and transform those observations into other forms of storytelling as to what can work for the job. Um, I had the vision of being in a gondola of Venice, talking with an architect and being alive. And many people, I mean, I don't know how many, but many people, it could be dozens, hundreds, or thousands, or millions, but understanding what is to keep your job, ordinary job, and get to a point where you can manage yourself to create a mansion into a village in one way or another. So I would love to get to that reality. I had that vision before people could film on internet, knowing that in the future people will be able to film alive. This is why I film alive. Maybe besides being lazy. So it is important to change my pattern and to create a resetting of how I am going to do this. Am I going to talk about the dungeoners? Am I going to learn editing? Am I going to be with people who don't know what is respecting characteristics, the boundaries of these characters, how they stand for and with? How? Because they belong to another nature. So, and how it could change in another scenario. The word of the week is recognition in the scenario. So, I would like to talk about how important it is. On another time, when I sell my formula and I can be supported to support influencers in the world of the metaverse or multiverse or omniverse, which is the same if we get together and recognize our achievements. I can win many Nobel Prizes if I put myself to write a book and put the many I mean, those 500 pages, 500 grams of paper that I sent to Bill Gates were terribly written because I was living in the streets for 21 days in a shelter for 3 months with people that get out from jail and with all screaming in the morning for the breakfast. They would bring the sandwiches. And I I was afraid of losing my temper and going crazy. And I was always praying to reframe yourself, just go out, get out of this place, follow the string of light, even if you don't see it. Imagine where it is to just get out and to be able to not control, but be witness of where I was, where I wanted to go, that which also exists somewhere. And one should not say I belong to this. It's a transition, is a sequence. And without these sequences, there is no story. Unless you are in a castle, in a jail, in certain scenarios, which have their own sequences with a smaller circle of system. The jailmate might go to court, and the cemetery, that's it. Maybe find freedom. Striving with their innocence when they're not. And it is good to recognize. It is good to accept the. My father has been in jail for reporting the truth. I have suffered dearly. Uh, I understood that it took me it took me decades to understand that he was guilty. I had a vague idea. So when I watched Jordan Peterson, because he's a talent and a genius and a rock star of what's today YouTube as a channeler, uh, there are sometimes problems with the genius because he's breaking through and sometimes gets to other circuits that don't benefit yourself in a world that was so corrupted as Venezuela was. I won't talk about the present of Venezuela because I don't know how it is right now in Venezuela, um, because there are so many needs that how can you cover everything in a society that is still setting its boundaries as such, taking care of its organizations as such. At least they have hope to make a better world, that they can do it. And the poor people, because the rich left, there are only a few. But before it was so much corruption and there were no rights for the poor or journalists to speak the truth. So that has happened to me as well in Spain. I was not even there, but I did organize the Occupy movement. Everything worked perfectly thanks to my tailoring design for everyone to do, as I said, and giving the space for others to say it because it was obvious without the need of me to say it, which is another form of mind manipulation to get that orgiacal thinking where we are all watching the same thing in the same scenario throughout history together as one. And that is beautiful. It's honorable to recognize where I come from and the mistakes of finding myself guilty, as well as my father and Jordan Peterson. But sometimes that hatred is auto destroys you. I mean, I was not bickering, but I couldn't be in control of all that was going because there were other organizers. I never organized it. I just tweeted for the first how it would work, the pattern of everything that happened as a scriptwriter and role player. But I'm a director of role playing, not just a role player. So I welcome you to join. I would like to learn from the dungeoners how to do editing with cartoons and maybe recover my good humor. The thing is that I think they're like low class because they don't know how to. That is my daughter. Bye.
Hello.
Hola.